Welcome to AstroTea, everyone. This is your weekly astro forecast and survival guide to the stars. So thank you to all our OG Astro fam and newbies for joining us today while we take a closer look at the transits and cosmic energy of the week ahead. We have some amazing products like the AstroTea Journal and Astro Calendar to empower you on a unique journey of divine alignment with nature. So just click on the available links if you haven't already and sign up for the email list to join the tea party and get all the exclusive sips. So let's get this cosmic tea brewing. Hey soul!
Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of AstroTea. We're talking about the week of July 24th, and we're going to be running through the transits of the upcoming week from the lens of astrology and the tarot. So any thoughts, any comments, any way in which this resonates for you in your life that you think of throughout the episode, definitely feel free to leave us a comment. We love to read what you have to say, how this energy is all showing up, in our collective consciousness. So definitely leave us a comment. We'll get back to you. We love to be able to interact with all of you. So we're going to get right into it. If you want to grab some tea, get your AstroTea journal. We're going to start with tomorrow, July 24th. And we have the moon in Libra in conjunct Jupiter in Taurus. So we're starting off the week with this very indulgent, grandiose, glamorous Venusian energy, right? We have both sides of Venus here. The masculine with the moon in Libra, right? Which is ironic in and of itself because the moon, which is more of a feminine energy, is being expressed with this masculine lens of Libra. And then we have the feminine side of Venus with Jupiter and Taurus, right? So there's this interplay. They're both Venusian, but at the same time, they're in conjunct. So there's some sort of like misunderstanding or it's off rhythm, right, in some way, shape, or form. So on this day, we have a tendency to take things too far, especially when it comes to food, sweets in particular, right? Taurus can be very indulgent in food, but Libra has those weakness for sweets, for pastries, for doughy kind of things, right? It could be overindulgence as well, relating to drinking, spending, seeking validation from other people or like external sources, and then testing other people's boundaries for some sort of self-gain. And our emotional state and our ability to see beyond the horizon are out of sync today. And maybe perhaps it's easier to feel trapped or to feel like the decisions of other people rule our life, right? Maybe it's like easier to give in to that way of thinking. But the energy today, this in conjunction, asks us to reflect on the growth that lies on the other side of accepting our collective interconnectedness while also taking accountability for the role that we play in developing a gracious sense of self. What does that mean, right? Having grace for ourselves, having compassion for ourselves. So how do we acknowledge, we're all interconnected. Relationships are important. One-on-one relationships are important. There's no denying that, but at the same time, we have a role to play in fulfilling our own sense of self and being compassionate with ourselves in doing so. So today's a really great day for beautifying your space, for going to a yoga class or for a light walk, right? We're keeping it cute, okay? We're keeping it cute today with this Venusian energy. So going for a light walk, or cooking a nourishing meal, or baking something. This is I was getting like baking something and using fruit or other natural sweeteners instead of sugar, right? It's all about balance. Like you can still have sweet, but how can you make sure it's coming from fruits or from natural sweeteners and still like having those in moderation, and or maybe making a natural fruit smoothie instead of getting a frappuccino, right? It's having balance. Today isn't about extremes. Jupiter and Taurus, it's like I want to indulge, I want to be cute, I want to be comfortable, I want things to be convenient. And Moon in Libra is like, I want to look cute while doing this. I want this to be graceful. I want this to be effortless. So it's more about finding a sustainable, balanced lifestyle at this point. It's not about extremes. So how do we bridge the gap between our current habits and ways for us to still, not feel deprived, but be in more of a balance, not allow our emotional states to dictate our spending and how our energy is, how our energy is spent. So So that's what I have for Monday with the astrology lens. Empress, what does this look like in the tarot with this in conjunction between the moon and Jupiter?
On Monday, July 24th, we have the moon in Libra in conjunct Jupiter in Taurus. In the tarot, this is the High Priestess in Justice in conjunct the Wheel of Fortune in the Hierophant energy. And some of you may feel like you don't deserve for things to go your way. So that when things start to go your way, you subconsciously self-sabotage so that you can prove yourself right. Who is affected the most when you do that? With today's forecast, Taurus and Libra energy are both associated with the planet Venus and the heart chakra. So the emotional focus this moon day is to just focus on any resentment or hurt you're keeping in your heart chakra, but also identifying what pleasure looks and feels and sounds and smells and tastes like for you. Sometimes we keep ourselves from pleasure and experiencing pleasure because we haven't made a sensual, using all of our senses, right? We haven't made that sensual association between what we think pleasure is and what sensual experiences would help us to actually feel pleasure in our lives. Some of us also disconnect from the fact that we deserve to experience pleasure in our lifetime. So because some of us don't believe subconsciously that we deserve to experience positive moments and healthy relationships and luxury living and shopping, that is why it is not our reality. With this Taurus and Libra energy bringing the elements of fixed earth with Taurus and cardinal air with Libra, some of us are not persistent with our social interactions with the community and on social media and with the world to actually receive the pleasure we want to see. So have you been creating and sharing your creations to work towards long-term financial stability that you're manifesting by pursuing your dreams and creating? So be reminded today as we start the week and in these early degrees of Leo that you have to be willing to fight for what you want, including fighting procrastination, fighting fear, fight laziness, fight haters and those that doubt you. This Leo season can really put us in a different tax bracket. I'm claiming it for all of us. So today, realize that pleasure comes after persistence. Pleasure comes after consistency. Pleasure comes after the discipline, because then you can actually enjoy the fullness of pleasure and what it has to bring to your life. So reflect on that. And what about this square that we have coming up on Tuesday? So let's get into that.
So moving on to Tuesday, July 25th, we have the sun in Leo is going to be squaring the moon in Scorpio. So, child, the fixed signs are out to play on this Mars day, okay? And they are not letting up. Let's break this down, okay? So we have the sun in a fixed sign. It's a masculine Leo squaring the moon in feminine Scorpio, again another fixed sign, at a Taurus degree. So there's a lot of fixedness, there's a lot of potential to build systems and structures out of this, but there's also a lot of stubbornness, a lot of resistance, a lot of blatant just wanting to stay put, whether it's Leo in terms of our how people perceive us, our image, whether it's Scorpio with our emotional comfort and our sense of being able to accumulate power or control, or Taurus, right? My house is set up just the way I want. My routine is set up just the way I want. I don't want to disturb that, right? So this energy creates an environment where, whether we like it or not, we're emoting and projecting those emotions out on the main stage, especially our emotions that deal with power, control, desires, intimacy, greed, debt, and secrets. So all those scorpionic things, right? This tension that it's creating with the sun in Leo, it's like whether we like it or not, those scorpionic things are being projected through our image. So this can be really powerful and really healing if we're willing to recognize and break these destructive emotional patterns, because we're going to be acutely aware of them today, right? In ourselves and in others. And it's going to require this conscious willpower and self-control to keep ourselves in check as well, and our emotions and how we are projecting forth these emotions. And another thing that I was getting for this day is that we have an opportunity to develop personally in our confidence and our self-awareness through the women, the mystics, and the outcasts of our family. Maybe we realize on this day whose footsteps, right? Whose footsteps of those that came before us specifically are we walking in or are guiding us, right? Maybe they have insight on the journey ahead. We learn about the story of a relative that you're like, wow, like I really resonate with that story. What did they do? How did they triumph? How did they overcome these things? And it's important to, especially if we feel perhaps like a black sheep or an outcast in our own family, who shares a common sentiment, who was someone who was committed to developing their intuition and growing spiritually and forging their own path, that perhaps you don't really know their story too well, that you can really relate to and grow from. And then lastly, what I was getting for this day with the square is that some of us have the opportunity to cultivate more synergy between our public identity and our private sexual life, right? You might feel like those things are especially mutually exclusive today, like either I maintain my public persona or indulge in the things that I secretly or just privately desire, right? That emotionally make me feel good, that physically, that sensually make me feel good. And they might feel especially tense today with this square, but embracing a level of integration between the two may ease some of that tension, whatever that means like for you, right? Not keeping them as something that the separation is causing tension within yourself or within your self-expression. So that's what I'm getting for Tuesday. I'm looking forward to hearing what this looks like in the tarot with this square.
On Tuesday, July 25th, we have the Sun in Leo square the Moon in Scorpio. And in the tarot, this is the Five of Wands squaring the Seven of Cups energy. How are you supposed to have the courage to fight when you don't want to decide what you're fighting for? Was the energy that I was getting for today looking at these two cards in the tarot. With the Sun and the Moon at a square here, right? The Sun is in Leo, the Moon is in Scorpio. They're both squaring. This brings up acting one way on the outside to hide how you're feeling on the inside. So this, for example, could look like a child that acts out because of emotional factors that are going on inside of them internally. This could also be adults in positions of power with this Leo that take advantage of their power with the Scorpio because they're tempted by so many options to have money and more power and luxury things and sexual experiences with women and men and people that they never would have had access to with this level of power. So today's forecast is a reminder to get clear. Get clear on what you want to put your energy towards and direct most of your energy towards it to get it achieved. For some of us in the collective, this is also a reminder to direct our sexual energy, to have a purpose for our sexual energy, because it can be used to bring life to your creations, literally. Some of us may be too focused on relationships with others with this Seven of Cups. We're in Leo season now. It's at a time when you need to pay attention to yourself. What actions, what energy am I taking? Am I wanting to see to progress with my passions? So let's sip on that while you get into Wednesday soul.
So Wednesday's forecast, we have the moon in Scorpio, sextile Mars in Virgo. So this is all about the warrior mentality. This Mercury day, right? Wednesdays relate to Mercury. It's very mentally active, very physically, like we're in our body, we're in our mind, and our environment corresponds to that, like attention that we're putting onto those things. So that means we're reading, we're studying, we're engaging in conversations, we're engaging in certain rituals or physical activity, right? Like it translates to some sort of relationship in our environment when we are mentally activated. So that's what Mercury is all about, and what that brings to the energy of Wednesday and Mercury day. So Mars is in this mutable earth energy of Virgo, and it's training us to be dynamic masters of our craft, right? Virgo strives for excellence, it strives for perfection, and Mars has been drilling us to be of substance, to be self-regulated enough to actually be able to have the expendable energy to prioritize serving others in our life and to purify our intentions. So this sextile to the moon in Scorpio supports us in giving care, attention, and service to those parts of ourselves that maybe they're unexplored, right? They stay uncharted territory because of the Pandora's box that it opens up for us emotionally. So affirming that I am safe, I am protected when doing the shadow work reminds us that recalling is not reliving. Right? Recalling is not reliving. We are safe to process these emotions within ourselves without feeling like we're there again, we're reliving it. It's like we're recalling it for the purpose and the intention of healing that experience, right? Recalling may not even be part of our process, right? But we're definitely not reliving it just by wanting to heal it more so, right? Is what I mean. So the Sagittarius degree, this is happening at 9 degrees, this Sagittarius degree reassuringly reminds us that there's a lesson here. There's an opportunity to advance to the next level. And this Leo season is about confidence and conviction. And going into these murky Scorpio waters and the winding rivers of Virgo, right, requires us to have the warrior mentality that today's transit helps us cultivate. So move your body today, right, to process criticism, impatience, and seeking control. Act from a place of grace today. And take decisive action to serve a greater good or a greater number of people. And that is something that will be acknowledged and respected today by others. You taking that initiative. So very powerful energy. We'll continue this analogy of like a boot camp and Mars and Virgo just taking us through this boot camp later in the week. But Empress, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have for the moon sextile Mars and Virgo.
On Wednesday, July 26th, we have the moon in Scorpio, sextile Mars in Virgo, and in the tarot, this is the 7 of Cups, sextiling the Tower in the Hermit energy. Today's energy is really focusing on making emotionally responsible choices and how they can result in sudden and much needed organized change and movement for us in a more progressive direction. With this Cups energy and Pentacles energy here, this can be particularly as it pertains to relationships with Cups, because that's emotions, that water energy. Particularly sexual relationships, because we have the moon in Scorpio, right? So this could all be any type of relationship, or particularly sexual relationships for some of you with the Scorpio energy, and also finances. So this movement and change could be dealing with career changes and options to choose from when it comes to investing your time to pursue a goal or to make a certain amount of money and to create a certain level of financial stability and to exert some level of abundant energy that is from a shift of frequency and vibration on an internal scale. So just being mindful of some of the ways in which this can come out with Cups and Pentacles. Some of you have got yourself in a situation where you've been sexually involved with someone on a routinely basis with this Scorpio and Virgo energy, and you need to decide to either move towards progressing the relationship with this person or end things if it's not serious. I'm getting the intention for some of you with the Scorpio and Virgo again, that it wasn't something serious. You probably met them at work, or when you went out for a work event, or maybe one day after work, something that you were doing, like where you were just providing a service or doing some type of job or working on something, and you may have met someone. And with the Scorpio energy, maybe things grew into some type of sexual relationship, whether that was casual. And so now you're having to make a decision whether, okay, we need to move forward and make this more serious since we're starting to see each other on more of a routine basis, or we need to decide to part our ways. So some of you may be having that decision in the collective to make if it's not serious for you, or to make the decision to move forward, to progress. If there is something that you feel emotionally, you need to make a choice with the Seven of Cups. Some of us need to be more mindful of what we get done within a day. What do you do in 24 hours? I am speaking to myself 110% when I say this as well. Because there's so many, if you look and rewind your entire day, like I could have worked there, I could have been productive there, I could have done something there. But so go back through your day, rewind through a day, rewind through today, the day you're listening to this, or the day before, depending on the time, right? Be more mindful of what you get done in a day. And if we have a schedule, noticing at this time, being more mindful of this time, at whether we have a schedule, whether we have a list or something to help keep up consistency and serve as a reminder to our goals, whether it's notifications that pop up on our phone or what. This sextile with Mercury on Mercury Day doubles down that emphasis that if you're noticing any challenges or difficulty choosing yourself over others, or with sticking to a routine or schedule at this time, be truthful about the obstacles that keep you from prioritizing yourself in that routine. Challenge yourself today to write down 3 things you do for yourself consistently on a weekly basis. What are 3 things that you can say you do for yourself on a weekly basis that's just because you want to do that for yourself, just because you want to show that you're self-love, right? I challenge you, list 3 things that you consistently do for yourself on a weekly basis. And if you don't have 3, write down 3 things that you want to challenge yourself to implement on a weekly basis, to show yourself love, to show yourself care, to show yourself worth, to show yourself value. So reflect on those 3 things, as well as where you potentially need to make a decision, where you may have multiple options, where your emotions are split between multiple different things or people, and make those decisions for you to really take action towards a more organized, a more efficient, a more growth-oriented lifestyle. I'll stop there. What is the forecast for Thursday, Soul?
Okay, so moving on to Thursday, July 27th. Really one of the more personal transits for me, definitely this week. We have Mercury in Leo conjunct Venus retrograde in Leo. And so this is happening at 28 degrees. It's a Cancer degree. So I'm like, maybe that's why I'm like feeling it. This is very like emotional, but also like just as equally like empowering and invigorating too. So Venus retrograde in Leo is asking us to re-examine our values around relationships and how we exchange our energy. It's a deep dive into the persona that we play, and this transit is challenging us to find ways to integrate that persona with our authentic selves. and reminding us that we can still be seen and loved as our true selves. And so this reminded me of a quote from All About Love. I've been reading this and rereading this lately, and I feel like this passage fits perfectly, so I want to read this. It says, "To return to love, to get the love we always wanted but never had, to have the love we want but are not prepared to give, we seek romantic relationships. We believe these relationships, more than any other, will rescue and redeem us. True love does have the power to redeem, but only if we are ready for redemption. Love saves us only if we want to be saved. So many seekers after love are taught in childhood to feel unworthy, that nobody could love them as they really are, and they construct a false self. In adult life, they meet people who fall in love with their false self, but this love does not last. At some point, glimpses of the real self emerge and disappointment comes. Rejected by their chosen love, the message received in childhood is confirmed. Nobody could ever love them as they really are." That's from All About Love by Bell Hooks, and it really makes me think about this like persona, this identity, this other self that we've developed that is very closely related to the archetype of Leo and Leo energy. So this conjunction between Mercury and Venus retrograde, it's to open our minds to what true love really means to us. And love is a practice. So what does it look like in action to its fullest and purest potential for you? Because there's an individual component that comes to that. You get to be the creator of your love life. You're in the driver's seat. And today is about empowering ourselves as the author of our love life. And that comes with reassessing our values, like what are they? What relationships we will and will not invest our energy into. Doing the self-confidence work. All of that is involved in taking on the sovereignty, right? The autonomy of getting to author our own story. And so the Venus retrograde that we're experiencing is molding us into unwavering worthiness of all that is good. And today's the first step of opening our mind to accepting this divine worthiness and sovereignty that is ours to claim. So that's what I have for Thursday. This was a really powerful day for me. Empress, I'm excited to hear your take on this conjunction that we have in Leo.
On Thursday, July 27th, we have Mercury in Leo conjunct Venus retrograde in Leo. And in the tarot, this is the Magician in strength conjunct the Empress reverse in strength. And you do not have the power yet to manifest your full vision. But that doesn't mean that it will never manifest in your physical reality, or that you are not making certain moves right now that are making all the difference in you reaching that ultimate full vision. We cannot allow what we see with our eyes to affect whether we believe things can happen for us or not. With the Magician, sometimes you have everything and you feel like your magic still isn't working. How many people do you see that have everything that you might want tangibly in this physical reality, but there's still something that they don't feel is going well in their life? They still have that one thing that they aren't able to achieve or get. This could be because you're looking to create in the wrong season, or you're not embodying the right vibration consistently to bring your manifestations to reality. We all fall victim to this. These principles of the universe, these laws, while in this reality. Because Leo energy, being in Leo season now, this is bringing up confidence and acting. Sometimes we have to fake it until we make it. Even if you're not completely clear on what you're creating. Okay, I don't know exactly where this is going, but I'm just gonna fake it. I'm just gonna put my best energy forward. I'm gonna be grateful for the present moment and all that I have, even if all I can be grateful for is the ability to breathe. Being grateful for the fact that I get to see another day. Being grateful for the fact I have a roof over my head. That I have access to clean water. Even if that's all you can be grateful for. Waking up, being grateful, and being confident, faking it until you make it at times, even if you're not completely clear on exactly what I'm creating. As you're speaking up for yourself while Mercury is in Leo, before it enters Virgo tomorrow, remember to bring forth new beginnings that will launch you into more love, into more happiness and positivity in your life. The sun is also in Leo at this time. Communicate about what you do want to experience that would make you feel happy and loved and seen by others, by people you love, by the community, seen and noticed for your shine, for your energy, for your passions, for your products and services that you put time and energy and blood and sweat and tears into. So as you're speaking up for yourself, while Mercury is in these last degrees of Leo, bring forth the new beginnings that will launch you into more love and happiness and positivity for you to experience. Venus retrograde is reminding us with this conjunction to act as if, right? Venus retrograde is the Empress. The Empress upright is in that creative energy. In the reverse, this is where you have to remember, I am the creator. Right now is not my season. This might not be my best moment right now. I may need to shift some things in order to get back into the energy of creation and reminding myself that I am the creator. So Venus retrograde, having this conjunction with the Mercury today, is reminding us you need to act as if, even when we don't, because money and luxury only enhance who you already are. Money and luxury only enhance who you already are. Spirit is saying, I want you to get your energy and vibration right before I unlock all of these floodgates and before I open all of these doors for you, before I unlock all of these opportunities for you, all of these aligned, destined situations and happenings for you. I want you to get your energy right and have that royal energy. Leo is that royal energy. I want you to have this royal energy and practice before I give you your own throne. I want you to practice speaking to the people, being in the community, getting to know what your community is like, what do they need from you? What does your energy bring to the community that will help to make the best difference and will help to bring out more energy and excitement and love and possibility and happiness for you? Venus retrograde is reminding us, act as if, be grateful in the moment, even when you don't see it, even when you don't have it, because money and luxury are only going to add to who you already are. And Spirit wants us to focus on who we're showing up as energetically before that energy is multiplied and broadcast for others to receive and take on. So I'm going to pour another cup. What major transit do we have on Friday, Soul?
So Friday, July 28th, we have Mercury enters Virgo. And Mercury in Leo has been a time, right? It's a time of creative expression, passionate conversations, joyful connections, right? Spending time with hobbies and things that we enjoy, researching our latest interests, spending some money on ourselves, right? Some well-deserved money on, whether it was something appearance related or something that just brings us a personal pride or joy, or maybe is a celebration of personal pride within ourselves. And we are going to enter, with Mercury going into Virgo, a cultivation period, right? Our mind is dynamic and flexible when Mercury is in Virgo. And Mercury is at home here. and it takes on its feminine expression, right? Remember, Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, Gemini being the masculine expression, Virgo being the feminine expression. So it's taking on its feminine expression here. And some astrologers actually say that Mercury is not only domicile in Virgo, but also exalted in Virgo. And this is because Mercury deals with intellectualizing abstract concepts, and Virgo brings a heightened level of analysis and directness that takes Mercury's mission not only to higher levels, but across collectives and communities, right? It disseminates this information, disseminates the analysis and the data-driven observations. And Virgo activates Mercury through serving others, through keeping an objective lens, and continuously striving for excellence. Mercury in Virgo is a chance for us to focus a significant portion of our mental bandwidth during this time on wellness. Take a proactive approach and schedule a doctor's appointment. Take inventory of what you eat and make small changes to eat cleaner and more electric foods, right? More raw foods, foods that energize you. Be accountable with how you spend time and money. Keeping up with discipline and consistency during this time will get us really far, right? And we'll be able to have the time and the spending power to invest in something that is actually soul-filling instead of like band-aid solutions to like a dysregulated, emotional state. And Mercury being in the first house indicates that I think that some of us are scared to even start because maybe wellness has never been part of our identity or part of our routine. You're like, I've never been a walking girl. I've never been a meal prep girl. And girls gender neutral, right? I've never been, a smoothie baddie. I've never just been making smoothies and having fruit and having well-balanced meals and knowing about greens and knowing about nutrition. Like, it's okay, right? And there's a place for all of us to come into this and to start. And it's a new cycle, right? It being in the first house, it's a new cycle, it's a fresh start. So you don't have to attach everything that you do to your personality just to be able to have it as a practice, right? It could be something that's just for you, just for yourself. It doesn't have to become an identity or a hashtag that you use or the way you brand yourself. Like, just try it, right? Just ease into it. Make small changes if you're overwhelmed or don't know where to start. So that's what I have for Friday's energy as we go into the weekend. So Empress, what's your take on Mercury going into Virgo?
On Friday, July 28th, we have Mercury entering Virgo, and in the tarot, this is the 8 of Pentacles. This is my Mercury return. Thanks for not asking, but this transit is a time to get focused on the services that you're providing the world, and also the receipts you have to show from all the routines, habits, and goals that you talk about. The 8 of Pentacles is about working on your craft and setting aside time to do things that double down on how secure and strong you feel about your direction in life. During this transit, school tends to be a predominant energy, so you may need to learn something or feel that you want to take a course or learn some type of new information. You may want to communicate certain things that you have observed or analyzed in your community, in the world, in reality, online, on social media. You may want to also get more organized in being able to create lists and making schedules and calendars for yourself. With our mind having an influx of analysis and thought while Mercury enters Virgo, Mercury is the planet that rules Virgo, so there's an influx of ideas and our minds might move a little bit quicker or be a little bit more sharp when it comes to analyzing details about things. So with that influx, perhaps writing in a journal or leaving voice notes for yourself can be helpful for keeping up with your ideas. Also, also be mindful of how much you do for others, how much service you provide to others versus how much service you provide for yourself in getting things done for yourself. And this can help you to see what adjustments may need to be made while Mercury is in Virgo in terms of who you are in more service to, which it should be yourself from what we learned when Mercury was in Leo, right? Take care of yourself, communicate and do things in a way where you are handled first, right? And then everything else is helping you to show how confident you are from being able to maintain yourself and then give all of the extra and excess to everyone else after you filled your cup. So keeping that in mind as we're transitioning to Mercury now entering into Virgo, keeping that in mind, prioritizing yourself and maintaining those lists and schedules, staying organized. How much do you do for others versus how much do I do for myself? Doing that analysis, seeing that difference can help you see where adjustments need to be made while we're having this transit, while we're in this transit. Looking at your work ethic right now, your level of concentration and your ability to work alone. Because when I'm looking at this 8 of Pentacles, she's sitting in a desk in her bedroom alone. And outside the window is the city hustling, bustling a few miles away. So how are you able to sit down and be effective in getting things checked off your list when you are by yourself? What can you produce if left to your own devices? During this transit, work on and start thinking about working on analyzing your day, what routines you have, how you eat, how truthful and honest you are, what products and services you want to perhaps share, what career goals you have, and how you can be or maintain a more organized individual. That's the tea for the week, Monday to Friday. What transit is kicking off the weekend, So as we enter the weekend, for Saturday, July 29th, we have the moon in Sagittarius is trine Chiron retrograde in Aries. And so today has the potential to be an emotionally intense day, but honestly, it's just so beautifully and divinely orchestrated for our benefit as well that it's like, this is kind of like an easy one, you know, it's kind of like a softball toss of like, if it is triggering, like what that is triggering us to address, to be aware of, so that we can be blessed, right, in that regard. So our emotions are heightened today, and it's a beautiful day to do some reparenting work. And I used this term the other day, and the person I was talking to, I don't think was familiar with it. I don't think she understood what I meant, because when she asked me if I had kids, I'm like, I don't know if people know what this word means, this term means. And what I mean by reparenting when I say that is when we get to young adulthood, right, we're collectively starting to see our parents as like people, right, with human limits, right? And we get into the stage where we are navigating having compassion, having love, loving these individuals, loving our parents, while maybe also acknowledging certain emotional voids that we have or traumas that they either intentionally or not, most likely not intentionally, right, left for us to unpack, right? Or just generally wanting to choose a very different story for ourselves, right? It, like, reparenting is what, regardless of what it is, reparenting is the process of doing that, right? It's acting as a guardian to ourselves and going through that inner child healing journey as the adult who's now able to care for that child the way that they need to be cared for now and the way they needed to be cared for back then. So that can look like so many different things. That can look as simple as like ice cream on a Tuesday night, like hell yeah, like why not, you know? As someone that maybe you didn't get to experience spontaneous things, or treating yourself was only for special occasions and you're trying to like undo a scarcity mindset, like reparenting could be a really great way to do that. Like,
you know what, it's Tuesday, it's just because, let's go get some ice cream. We don't have to wait for a special occasion, right? Maybe it looks like signing up for a dance class because you really wanted to do that as a child and didn't get the opportunity, or traveling to new places, or revisiting places from our childhood and allowing ourselves to have a completely new perspective on that place, on like our memories there. And overall today, our willingness to expand our horizons, just as an attempt to dive fully into this inner child healing work, just committing to it, it's going to prove to bring really beautiful healing experiences into our lives and to transform the way that we relate to the world around us. So overall, this is a really beautiful day going into this Saturday of just any effort, any attempt that we do to reparent through allowing ourselves to have these expansive experiences is going to really bring so much healing, because we are like very emotionally open and sensitive, and it's going to really do a lot of it's going to have a great impact on that like reprogramming work. So Empress, what does this trine look like between the moon and Chiron for you in the tarot?
On Saturday, July 29th, we have the moon in Sagittarius, trine Chiron retrograde in Aries. And in the tarot, this is the high priestess in Temperance, trining the Chiron retrograde energy in the energy of the Hierophant. Sometimes the only thing that keeps us patient and continuing to try is those experiences that we've been through, where we learned to be more patient, where we've learned to be more fearless and more hardworking and more honest and more confident and exhibiting more self-love. Any successful person that had enough faith to actually go after their dreams has faced adversity along the way and failure along the way, and has doubted themselves at some point in that process. And what ends up being the foundation of a successful person, therefore, is their failures, is their adversity, are those fears that came up while they were walking through the process, because a successful person has felt all of that as an individual and still showed up to try again. This Saturn day is about recognizing that our hurt and our pain and fear is actually fuel that can be used to help us reach our destination or become a source of energy for others to succeed. For some of you, you're realizing that your anger is the primary emotion that helps you get stuff done. So for you, it is about using your anger to actually be productive and direct your energy in ways that are going to help you to reach your goals. With the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Wands here, some of you may have got your anger from a female or divine feminine energy or representative in your life, perhaps even from childhood. Perhaps some of you, specifically your mom, with this Queen of Wands. So some of you may have got your anger from your mom, or your anger came from how your mom treated you when you were younger. And that is why you may have some subconscious anger, because your inner child has some unresolved hurt and wounds, right? Chiron is the wounded healer. So with Mercury and Virgo, this trine may bring that free flow of energy when it comes to talking about your childhood, bringing up those childhood receipts, right? I went through this. This is an example of a situation where I felt hurt, where I was wounded, where that's the reason why I have unresolved feelings inside. Bringing up those things, communicating those things, speaking about them to release, to forgive, to be able to express gratitude for your childhood and their experiences, the experiences that you've been through that have made you exactly who you need to be right now in the present moment. So a lot to reflect on for Saturday as we're closing out the week, but that's the tea for Saturday. So what's the forecast as we close the week, Sol?
Okay, closing out this week on Sunday, July 30th, we have the moon in Capricorn, trine Mars in Virgo. So we're ending out the week with another session in this Mars in Virgo training camp, this boot camp. So today provides an opportunity to bring healing and reconciliation to our self-worth and how hard we work. The relationship between those two things. There's an opportunity to reconcile that. A lot of us attach our worth to our productivity. So it brings up these feelings of confliction and guilt when we compromise personal boundaries and self-care for career advancement, right? These things are in a trine. These concepts are in a trine. We should be able to have both. We should be able to navigate. The two should complement one each other, if anything, with this trine, right? Having the moon in Capricorn in the 6th house of the sun and Mars in Virgo in the 2nd house of the sun. These two things should complement one another, right? But I think sometimes it brings up conflict and guilt when we are making these compromises and these sacrifices for career advancement. Right, and with this cardinal energy in the 6th house of the sun, let's say if you're starting a new job, right, this is the most critical time to be aware of this and act on it, starting from day one, right, setting boundaries early in a firm and graceful way. And others might be feeling unappreciated at work, right, so it's really time. This transit is telling us that it's time to initiate new cycles of maybe speaking up more, right? Like taking an active role in bettering your work experience, right? Maybe doing your best, right? Giving things your all. Or just reevaluating entirely whether that environment, whether you feel whether it's capable of respecting you and developing you personally and professionally, right? So hold yourself accountable to do your best within your boundaries without also overcompensating from a place of low self-esteem, right? Because that's how you get yourself trapped in hyper productivity and then the world expecting that high level of performance from you all the time as your baseline, right? And so this is also the last thing that I was getting for this is a sign for you to take your wellness career to the next level. And there's an opportunity to make wellness a very fulfilling and profitable lifestyle for you. So whether that's nutrition, fitness, mental health, physical therapy, right? Whatever it is, there's the ability to have this be very profitable for you as well as fulfilling. And so purity of heart and purity of intent, that's what brings the money. So don't stress, don't rush, don't cut corners, don't do things that are out of integrity because it's going to come, right? Pour from your heart. And the wealth will come from having a community that can attest to and embody the quality of your care. And they can embody your excellence, right? They can attest to your excellence. So that's what I'm getting for Sunday, just I don't want to just work hard. Like that's so like cliche for Virgo Capricorn, but really like it's not about working hard. It's just like honest work, like whatever it is, be honest and honorable, like honor yourself, honor others, and do honest work, and that will take you further than working a lot or working more than you have to or overcompensating, because you're not coming from a place of lack. You're coming from a place of really wanting to share your gifts and your excellence with others. So that's what I have for Sunday. Empress, I'm excited to hear what you have for this trine, right? Both of us have this earth energy. You as a Virgo, myself as a Capricorn. So I'm excited to hear what this looks like in the tarot, and you can close us out for this week.
On Sunday, July 30th, we have the moon in Capricorn, trine Mars in Virgo, and in the tarot, this is the High Priestess and the Devil, trine the Tower and the Hermit. And money goes where attention flows. That was the first phrase that kind of popped in my head when I looked at the energy for today. Money goes where attention flows. So what is your attention on as we close out this week? After a week of really analyzing our own behavior, we had Mercury enter Virgo, looking at our habits and our history with Chiron there. What cycles do we keep ourselves trapped in because there's this false sense of value that was introduced and that maintains and continues to sustain toxic habits and addictions and power dynamics? I was listening to something the other day, and to clarify toxic addictions, this gentleman, forgive me, I forget his name, he was saying addiction does not have to just be drugs and alcohol, which is completely correct. He was like, addictions can also be an addiction to self-sabotage, right? So what types of addictions or what types of power dynamics, right, keep you trapped in a false sense of value? And now you're maintaining and sustaining that false sense of value because of those toxic habits or addictions or power dynamics that currently exist. With today's forecast, set your attention on sudden endings with this tower here to these things in your life, so that, like the hermit, you can have more time to study and learn and observe, to enter new levels and cycles of your life. With the Queen and Knight of Pentacles, what advice have you potentially ignored from elders or others that are financially in the positions you want to be in based on the abundant energy that they radiate? Right? How many times have elders given you little tidbits of advice, or you've gone online and you've watched a video that said certain piece of information, or you were scrolling on Instagram or having a conversation with someone outside in the community, or you went to an event? How many times have you received advice, financial advice from elders that you ignored? And those people that are giving you advice, these are not some like anyone's. These are people that have receipts to show that they have been successful from the advice they're giving you. These are people that you feel enter the room, that have that abundant energy. They radiate that energy. Today is a day to revisit any of those lessons that elders may have shared with you about how to make, how to keep, how to maintain certain amounts of money and abundant energy. So be open to learning new information that can help you to be more financially responsible, while also holding yourself accountable to finally implementing information you know already and haven't acted on. So do something today that's in alignment with a goal you have set for yourself. It's going to assist you to get more clear on how much you respect yourself exactly. Do I respect myself enough to follow through and to choose myself, as opposed to your indentured servitude to others, or to habits that do not serve you, or to addictions that do not serve you, or to power dynamics that do not serve you? What a steamy week of transits with Mercury entering Virgo in the first full week that we are now having in Leo season. And that is all the tea we brewed for this week. So thank you all for joining us for another cosmic forecast, and may this upcoming week empower you to heal, grow, and thrive. Follow us on YouTube for daily timestamps throughout the week, and check our available links to join the email list, order your AstroTea products, and also book your personal consultation with us. We love you and have a terrific week.